Live right here on this Monday on the early line on SportsGrid. I am Ben Stevens. Donnie Rightside is here, and it's a Monday. That means the prop perspective with Tom Vecchio. Tom, as always, we appreciate the time. Thank you for being here on this Monday to start off a new week on SportsGrid.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We got some Olympic basketball to cover. We are in the dog days of MLB season. Preseason NFL is here. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Team USA, a perfect 3-0 in men's basketball, Vecchio, throughout group play action in Group C, capped off by a 21-point win over Puerto Rico on Saturday. It's been relatively easy so far for the Americans in group play. Now it matters even more with the knockout round, the quarterfinal round starting tomorrow against Brazil. What have you made out of the American performance so far in the Olympic Games?
In kind of what I expected so far, where, some early struggles. There's obviously a lot of talk about the rotation, but they got things ironed out. I think they're, going ahead at full steam. I think this game is going to be, very solid overall. My take would be U.S. wins, they don't cover, and we see the under hit. So, them winning by 22 points, I think would be a very comfortable, very dominant win from them overall. But, 26.5 points is getting to that point where I have a few concerns. I'm not saying I have any concerns about them losing. They're obviously going to win this game, but them maybe not covering wouldn't shock me. Winning by 21 points, I think, is where we're going to see. So I think the under is going to hit. I think they'll keep Brazil's defense in check, but I'm not sure how much they're going to get out and run and really pile up the points.
Yeah, I agree with that, too, because it's survive and advance at this point. You would love, 20-point win, 15-win, 10-point win. They'll be just fine with that moving on. There's no style points required at this point in the competition. But we're talking about the Team USA-Brazil game at minus 26.5 at the FanDuel Sportsbook. The other quarterfinal games, pretty close listed here. Greece and Germany, 7.5. Australia and Serbia, 6.5. Canada and France, also 7.5. From the other games outside of Team USA versus Brazil, do you have your eye on one of those games or how they're going to go?
Yeah, France versus Canada has to be the most interesting. I think those are two pretty competent teams, especially because either of them could end up facing Team USA in the gold medal match. I like France plus 7.5. They've looked a little bit up and down. Just, I know they're winning games, but just in terms of putting together a full game, I still have a few doubts across the board. I still think Canada is a very good team. I also have a lot of faith in Germany. I think they look super solid. So I like France. I like Germany. I think just looking for some value potentially in direct medal outcomes, whether it's USA versus Canada and then Germany picking up the bronze, like some sort of that. I think you can find some value in the market there.
Before the final day of group play, I bet Germany to record a medal at plus 130. The Germans now minus 192. 3 undefeated teams in Olympic pool play action. Canada in Group A, Germany in Group B, the United States in Group C. The Americans just a 1-2 team against the spread. So, Vecchio, you mentioned the 26.5-point number against Brazil tomorrow afternoon. The over-under stands at 185 and a hook. But how about the prop perspective? Which American performer do you expect to step up now in the quarterfinal round against the Brazilians?
Yeah, let's keep things super simple with LeBron over 12.5 rebounds plus assists. It's sitting at minus 130, and my take from the beginning has always been that LeBron's going to do everything that it takes to win, and that doesn't necessarily mean scoring, right? He can facilitate the offense. He can distribute the ball. 7-9, 7-5, 6-8 is what he's had in the first 3 games when it comes to rebounds and assists. So over in 2 of 3. Does he need to lead the team in scoring? No, but he can do everything else, and that's what we're going to see from him, I would say, in all of the games moving forward. Maybe not a ton of points, but the rebounds and assists from LeBron will always be there.
Looking forward to it. See if U.S. can grab a gold medal. Let's flip it over to Major League Baseball, and we'll take a look at the Philadelphia Phillies and the Los Angeles Dodgers, what appears to be the 2 best teams in the National League, depending on how they're playing on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. The Phillies come into this game as an underdog. The Dodgers a slight favorite at a minus 132. The price for a dog for the Phillies is a plus 112. Total listed at 7.5. Phillies finally with a big win yesterday. Nola Glasnow on the mound tonight. What gives here, Tom?
I think we're going to see lack of scoring. I hope this is like a true playoff type atmosphere. Yeah. This is what we should be seeing in the NLCS. So that's what I'm expecting from the game overall. I know the Phillies have been struggling as of late, but for this game right now, I'm going to Glass now over 7.5 strikeouts. It's sitting at -112. He missed a little bit of time, but in his 2 starts since he's come back, 91, 102 pitches. We're not worried about his pitch count. 32.8% strikeout rate this season, 13.7% swinging strike rate, and a 2.89 SIERA is absolutely fantastic. The Phillies, if we look at their strikeout rate versus right-handed pitching as the season has gone on, it was at 22.5% in June, 24.5% in July, and it's up at 26.4% to start August, obviously just a few days in, it's a smaller sample size. But if they're struggling right now, Glasnow is the type of pitcher that can jump on that, and we'll see him go deep into the game over 7.5 strikeouts, sitting at -112.
So, Vecchio, as we look at this series and what we have seen so far between these two teams, the two frontrunners in the National League pennant prices, we look back nearly a month ago at this point to the two facing off in Philadelphia. The Phils swept the Dodgers. At that point, 6.5 games in front of LA for the best record in all of the National League. But since the All-Star break, just 4-11 for Philadelphia. The Dodgers 9-6, but they have dropped 5 of their last 8 games. Where do you put these two teams in terms of pennant and World Series contention entering this marquee matchup in Los Angeles this week?
I think they're perfect where they are, but as I talked about, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I like the Phillies to face the Orioles direct outcome in the World Series. So that means I want to take the Phillies over the Dodgers in the NLCS at +600. So I think these are the two best teams. I think that's where we're going to stay for the rest of the season. Their odds are going to shift a little bit here or there. But ultimately, I'm not worried about their Phillies and this recent little skid that they've had. Whether, if we're looking at the other side of this and they scored 10 runs in 5 straight games or 6 straight games, I wouldn't be changing my opinion on the Phillies. They're scoring some runs, then their bullpen's, blowing the game. They have great pitching, then they have great bullpen, and then their hitting's not coming through. So I'm not worried about a 5 or 6 game sample size for any team at any point near, really, when I have so much faith, especially in their pitching staff, when push comes to shove. So I want the Phillies over the Dodgers in the NLCS at +600.
All right, let's keep moving along here. And you're going to see a graphic on the screen. We don't want you to adjust or say maybe your internet is off or maybe you didn't put your glasses on. The Oakland Athletics are taking on the Chicago White Sox today. A -178 price with the Oakland Athletics over the White Sox in a total of 8.5. It's Busch versus Sears. Historic numbers, not only because the Oakland Athletics are almost a 2-1 favorite, but the White Sox looks like they're going to lose again, Tom. What's your thoughts today, White Sox Athletics?
I can't possibly bet on the White Sox. I also can't possibly bet on the Athletics. The only spot to go, I think, would be maybe trusting JP Sears over 4.5 strikeouts. It is sitting at -144. Chicago, they have the 6th worst strikeout rate versus left-handed pitching. Sears has got some strikeouts going, especially since the start of July. He's got up at 8 and 9. So I'm not laying money with the Athletics. That's never going to happen. I also can't possibly trust the White Sox. But maybe we can trust JP Sears, who isn't the worst pitcher in the world, and he's not the best pitcher, but he can jump on his White Sox lineup that is just absolutely dreadful right now.
20 consecutive losses for Chicago.
Crazy.
The longest losing streak in Major League Baseball this millennium. In 2000, the longest since 1988, when the Baltimore Orioles started the season 0-21. Another loss today for the White Sox. They matched that in history in the worst way that you could ever hope for history. A divisional duel, an in-state showdown, Vecchio, gets started today in Arlington between the Rangers and the Astros. A virtual pick'em, -112 for Houston, a slight favorite, 8.5 is the total. What do you like tonight in Arlington?
Let's keep it really simple, and that's Jose Altuve for 2+ total bases at +105. He's going up against Andrew Heaney. 396 slugging allowed to right-handed hitters, 1.30 home runs per nine. He's got a 46.9% fly ball rate. Altuve, of course, great versus lefties, 140 WRC+. He's got a 398 BABIP. And while I'm not a big believer in BVP, overall batter versus pitcher directly, Altuve has kind of crushed Heaney in his career in 46 at-bats, got 14 hits, which is above 300. Batting average, obviously, is the most important stat, but Heaney's not a good pitcher. Altuve is a great hitter. We know that. Let's just keep it super simple. He gets on base, picks up a couple singles, 2+ total bases, +105.
The Rangers have lost 7 of their last 9. The Astros have dropped 5 of their last 7. Tom Vecchio, we appreciate the prop perspective as always.